Hello everyone and welcome back to Tutorials of Tone. My name is Alex. Thank you so much for watching. What we're dealing with today is the song Livin' on a Prayer, and in particular, the TalkBox sound that makes this such an infamous guitar tone. We're going to be dealing in the FM3, but you can recreate this on your FX3, your FM9, or your FM3. We're going to go over how to make that TalkBox sound with an expression pedal and also without one, if space is an issue on your pedal board. Let's dive right into this. First up, input block. Stock settings. I have the threshold on my gate at negative 47.5 dB. The noise to note ratio when sustaining leads is usually found there on this guitar, my Music Man Steve Morse model, my primary gigging instrument. Next up we have an amp block, Friedman HBE V1. I have pretty standard Marshall tone on this, and as you can see, the input boost is engaged with a scene controller. We use this to boost our leads for both the TalkBox and the guitar solo. It is a neutral boost set at stock settings of 12 dB. I run this into Mesa Boogie cabinets with a 57 and a 121 because this is my primary cabinet used on all of my live presets to have a nice consistent tone. Feel free to use Friedman, Marshall, whatever you want here to your liking, but this keeps the soundman happy, having a consistent EQ'd tone. Next up we have a pitch block with some stereo detune. You can choose to have this or not, as button 3 on the FC controller brings in the pitch detune or brings it out. It starts on, and we have a scene ignore function, so if you decide to turn it off for a gig or you're running in mono and you're really not liking that sound, you can do that. You can just take it out, play the whole song, not have to worry about it when you're changing scenes. Pretty wonderful. 25% mix and 3 dB of compensation for bringing that in. We have a medium plate reverb running in parallel, just to give it a little bit of that 80s wet vibe, and a digital stereo delay set to a quarter note at negative 12.5 dB, and the tempo of our song is 123 beats per minute. Very good to know if you're playing to a click, but also if your band is playing to a click and they want to take it faster, absolutely go in to the controllers menu, change that on the front face, and save. We have a filter block that's engaged only for the guitar solo. It's a 3 dB boost and neutral. And now we get to the really fun stuff, the TalkBox. Instead of setting up the tube and a mic and the extra amp sends and cables, you can get really close to that Livin' on a Prayer TalkBox sound within the Fractal using a Formant Block and a wah block. So let's dive into that. First up, the Formant Block, the crux of the biscuit, if you will. This is the most important block in getting this sound. As we're running this in parallel with a wah, and also with the dry signal going through, we have negative 2.5 dB on the level, and mute FX out for bypass, so when we go to our crunch tone, we're not getting more signal. Very important. We have this set up to pedal 1. There's no auto engage, just straight stock settings for the controller. Now, finding the vowel shapes that work for this took me way too much time when I was first getting my Fractal device. I think this was in the first 3 months of me owning one. And ooh, ah, from heel, mid to toe is what I found to be the most useful and the most faithful in recreating that tone. Pretty nice. We have that running in conjunction with a wah block. You can choose your favorite wah. What is of note is having your frequency min and max set to accentuate the w sound of a TalkBox. So 200 hertz for the minimum frequency and 900 hertz for the max frequency. So this isn't going very high. But again, set to pedal 1 on your controller. Not a lot of wah in here. Negative 22.5 dB. We set the bypass to mute, again, to not have that signal going through and adding when we go to crunch tone. And then I just have the EQ curve, bit of a hump to give it a little bit of a mid boost so it pops out a little bit as you sweep through the spectrum. For scenes 1 and 3, we have TalkBox, and for scenes 2 and 4, we have our non-TalkBox sounds, going from our rhythms to our leads. And on our FC controller, we have number 1 being the TalkBox, number 2 being crunch. When we look at our FC per preset menu, we're toggling between the TalkBox and the TalkBox lead. On the first one, it's a tap function, very simple. And on our second controller button, we have scenes 2 and 4, so that you can just tap, get to the lead, and go right back. And in this song, that works perfectly. You don't have to jump from one lead into the next sound at any point. So in the second verse, we're playing the rhythm part, and we're jumping to that lead, and right back into the TalkBox. And then you'd be able to go right back in to your TalkBox sound by tapping again. Our pre-chorus and our chorus crunch tone is just the amp straight into the cab with a little bit of pitch detune. When you tap again, you get the lead tone. Then you tap again, get your rhythm sound for the rest of the tune, and there you have it. One thing of note, in the output block, our TalkBox rhythm tone is down 1.25 dB, because we have a lot of things running in parallel with our dry signal, and then we compensate our crunch sound, our rhythm sound, with 1.5 dB boost. Because of the input boost, on our lead sounds, we don't have any scene level boosts or cuts. With our TalkBox lead, it's enough to just have the input boost with our 12 dB in front of the amp, and having that 1.25 dB difference on our output scene levels. So we don't need the filter block engaged, just a little bit of delay. And then for our chorus tone, we have the input boost plus 3 dB and the delay. Now this is all well and good if you have an expression pedal, but what if you don't have one? That's not something that we all have to deal with, but some of us do. Some of us don't have the footprint, some of us don't own an expression pedal. And if you got to play this song on a gig, it's really nice to have this tone, so we're not going to leave you out. We're going to set this up with an envelope follower. Now this is something I just recently thought of doing, and I may end up doing this on a gig to keep my foot available for switching between these scenes. All you have to do, go to your controller, source 1, envelope follower. Make sure you do this for your Formant block and your wah block. Now go to your controller's menu, down to envelope and manual. Input source will be input 1. Set your threshold around negative 24 dB and tweak to taste. You really want to get the full spectrum of the control of your Formant and your wah, the TalkBox sound, and be able to dig in to get it really high on the wah, on the ah vowel. but be able to pick lighter to get those lower tones, as he's not playing it perfectly heel to toe every single time. I have the attack set to 16 milliseconds, no release, 1 millisecond, and a little bit of gain, just 1.7 gain, just to push that threshold, that boost into the envelope filter a little bit. And we can hear what that sounds like. No expression pedal needed. Quite wonderful. Well, that about wraps it up for today. You can grab this preset for free on Exchange. Just follow the link in the description. Have fun with this. Go out and gig. Surprise your bandmates. Get the look for your tones. Tweak this to taste. If you have any suggestions, tweaks, comments, anything, leave them in the comments. Send me a message. Reach out. But have fun with this. Enjoy. Watch some more videos if you're so inclined. And we'll see you all next time.